Ready? Go!
Getting HD out of your PAL GameCube. Requirements. You will need a PAL Nintendo GameCube, a standard AV or RGB SCART cable, a digital AV cable which may either be an official component cable or a HDMI mod, an SD media launcher with action replay disc. This is required to run Swiss. A wired controller, Swiss 0.4 or later, a capture card or TV that supports your AV outputs, optionally a Game Boy player with the Game Boy interface software, and of course, a game disc. Physical connections. Connect the power, AV, digital AV, memory card, SD media launcher, controller, action replay disc, and turn the power on. Achieving 480p output. Upon booting the action replay disc, navigate to Swiss. Then boot the DOL file. Upon opening Swiss, press B, then A to select eject. Then navigate to DVD. Then swap the discs, then press A. Now you will see the software title. Press A to select the title, then press X to open the settings. Change Force Video Mode to 480p. You don't need to adjust any of the other settings. After pressing Save and Exit, press A to boot the game. If later asked by the game, enter 60Hz mode. This will effectively allow the game to run at 60 frames per second in a progressive scan mode. 576i comparisons. Here are some comparisons that demonstrate the GameCube's default 576i interlaced output through 3 different output methods, be that composite, RGB, and component video. Each analog output was recorded in real time, so we can switch between composite, RGB, and component. If we freeze this frame here and look closely at the master hand, we'll see some heavy interference. But if we move over to composite, it's a little bit less, and then even more so with the component video.
Spare me the details.
While we observed this in other clips as well, did you notice the president's suit change color there? And also how the text flickered on non-component outputs? Ideally, RGB should have a better output than composite, possibly through a better SCART cable or a open source scan converter. But that's just not the case here. Game Boy Player. An excellent use case for the GameCube's digital output is the Game Boy Player, as it allows you to play a plethora of titles available from the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance libraries on your TV. And this is not available on Wii and Wii U, as it's a hardware component for the GameCube itself. Let's take a look at the stock 576i output from the official Game Boy Player disc. Now immediately, you should notice the image is much softer, and this is component video we're talking about. But not only that, the frame rate has dropped to 25 frames per second from 60. This is due to both using PAL and interlacing the frames. We can improve this quite easily using the Game Boy interface software, even in interlaced mode. While it may not be perfect, the increased screen area definitely improves the experience. That is until of course you use 480p progressive scan, which in turn fixes both the sharpness and frame rate issues. Here are some comparisons of the same title screen in different output formats. Wii U HDMI Output. An alternative to playing GameCube games on original hardware is the Wii U, as it uses the same PowerPC architecture as the GameCube. This is achieved by using Nintendo on the virtual Wii aspect of the Wii U. This allows you to play GameCube games upscaled to 720 or 1080p high definition from the Wii U's HDMI output. You can even use the Wii U Pro Controller, though I wouldn't recommend it for melee. Here are the settings I use for Nintendo. They work fine for most games, however, Force Progressive stops some games from starting. Comparing to Dreamcast. You might notice that there are quite a few Dreamcast titles that were ported over to the GameCube. For this example, I'll be demonstrating the differences between Sonic Adventure 2 on the GameCube component against the Dreamcast VGA output. Almost immediately, you'll notice there's a color difference between the GameCube and Dreamcast, with the GameCube having a much darker contrast, and the Dreamcast having much clearer text. But that said, the Dreamcast does have a bit more analog interference. Here's an example showing text on the GameCube, Dreamcast, and Wii U. Recommendations. If you're looking to play GameCube, Game Boy, and Game Boy Advance games, and you have an existing GameCube, then you should look into getting a component cable or HD mod solution. If you don't have a GameCube, and you're looking just to play GameCube games, then perhaps you could go with the Wii U, but then you also need a Wii to dump the games, as a Wii U cannot play 8cm discs. This is still the cheapest option as of early 2019, Full HD. If you're primarily looking to play Sega titles, then the Sega Dreamcast is a good option, as it is relatively cheap and very easy to set up, with just a simple plug-and-play VGA cable. And if none of these options suit you, then you could possibly look into the emulation route with the Dolphin GameCube emulator. Though even just a normal Wii is a very good option, as they're very cheap at the moment. If you think I was going too fast in this video, there's a link in the video description of a written version, so check it out there. If you've come this far, thank you for watching, and be sure to like, comment and subscribe for more. And check out these videos here. Good night.